Hello everyone, welcome to the Tristar Gym channel. I'm going to give you guys a quick sec to load up. I want to double check my sound as always. Give me a thumbs up if you're hearing me loud and clear. Everything seems good on my end. Everything is green. Team Max, thank you for that thumbs up. You know I tend to fumble the ball early in the game, so I'm going to make sure that you guys can hear me loud and clear. If the gain is too high or sound is not right, just put it in the chat room. I'll adjust it. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to kick it off with today's topic. We're going to be talking about Whittaker versus Adesanya, an incredible fight, second round KO for those of you who are not up to date. And if you know you're tuning in here, you're tuning at your own risk. There's always spoiler alerts, okay? I'm going to give you an eternal spoiler alert when you tune into my channel. I'm always talking about the fights. So incredible performance by Adesanya. A very close round in round one until the very end where Adesanya scores a major knockdown. And the whole night, it was the Matrix, Adesanya, like I thought he would do. He's leaning back. So we talked about the pre-fight analysis. I was telling you guys, I think he's going to try to use the Matrix. What I mean by the Matrix is when you're leaning back like this, like you're dodging punches like Neo does in the Matrix. You kind of lean back and he does it in Glory, but not as much. In MMA, I find he's doing it so much more. And why? It's probably because the cage is much bigger than the ring, and the gloves are smaller, so he might want to have more distance. And he's making it work, man. He's making it work in MMA. It's working really well for him. And as we saw in the second round, Whittaker was reaching. He was swinging for the fences. He was going for the kill. And at one point, he might have overreached a little, and he got countered. However, I did think he was doing really well in round one until the knockdown. And I thought in round two, if he kept that pressure up, we all expected him to come with pressure. Everybody was expecting Whittaker to come with pressure. In hindsight, I don't think it was wrong. Like if I went back, in time, I would still think it's the right choice. You have to pressure Adesanya because he's gonna pick you apart from afar. Okay, so I don't think it was a wrong strategy. It just that's how the cookie crumbled. Of course, there are different strategies he could have applied. You can maybe try to kick the leg early in the fight instead of trying to hunt for the head so much. However, he did look good. Whittaker was looking good, in my opinion. He looked like he could have also landed a big shot. He could have also done some serious damage. He did connect on Adesanya. He even connected with a very nice head kick in round number 2, which surprised me because Adesanya was leaning so far back. It's kind of hard to head kick a guy when he's doing that matrix maneuver. And of course, he has to be really tall. Generally, it's hard to head kick a tall guy. Not only is Adesanya tall, he's also doing the matrix, which makes him very hard to kick to the head. Whittaker got it done. He kicked him right in the head. And, we saw some sparks of, where Whittaker could put the final touches on Adesanya and win. However, it didn't roll that way. As we saw in the final combination, Adesanya has a lot of power as well. He has a lot of power. And not only is he powerful, that shot that he hit Whittaker with, the last one, the hook, I don't think Whittaker saw it. And it's much more damaging. For those of you who've done boxing before or kickboxing, when you get hit with a shot you didn't see, it's far more damaging. If you don't get a chance to brace for it, it's very likely to drop you. Now, just a quick little note before I open it up to you guys' comments and questions. The KO and the knockdown in round one. What amazed me was I thought it was the end of the fight. When I watched it, I thought they stopped the fight. No, it was the buzzer. It was kind of hard to hear the buzzer because all the crowd cheered, started making noise. So I didn't really hear the buzzer. When I saw the knockdown, the crowd was cheering. I didn't hear the buzzer really. I wasn't sure. And I thought the ref had stopped the fight. But when you're there live, you hear the buzzer. Like the referee is hearing the buzzer, the horn. My opinion, when somebody gets knocked down and the end of the round, they should get an 8 count. The round is over. The guy got knocked down. Don't sit him up on the stool and give him a whole minute to recover. Don't do that. He has to be able to stand up on his own, and within 8 seconds, not only is he standing up on his own, he knows where he is, he knows the building he's in, he knows the date, he knows his name, his wits are about him, then let him keep fighting. However, if after a 10 count, or an 8 count I should say, he still doesn't know where he is, the fight is over. Why? Because after you take such a blow to the head, you shouldn't keep fighting. It's too dangerous, I think, personally, health-wise. In boxing, most boxing fights, you cannot be saved by the bell. If you get knocked down and the bell rings, you still have to make that 8 count. Why? It's a safety measure. It's a serious safety measure. Because if you get a severe concussion and the round 1 ends and we give you a whole minute to recover, you still have that severe concussion. Now, you're able to keep fighting because we give you a whole minute. But generally speaking, if you cannot recover from a blow to the head in 10 seconds, the blow is too severe. The blow is way too severe. Now, Whittaker did get up. He did kind of go straight to his stool, so he didn't look that bad. But I just thought that, I would have loved if they checked him, if they saw, are his eyes clear? Does he know where he is? Does he understand what's going on? That's something that you have to have a one-on-one interaction with. You have to go and, what they usually do is they make you put your hands up, walk towards me, and you have to be able to do it without stumbling about. And this is something I find it's a bit of a flaw in the rules of MMA, because in boxing they've learned that putting a guy on the stool and then sending him back out with a bad concussion is very dangerous for his health. And most boxing fights, you cannot be saved by the bell. So that's one thing. When I saw that KO, I'm like, you know what? That happens quite a bit in MMA. Like it happened with Aldo and Mendez. You got to check those fighters. Once they get knocked down, you got to check them. They should be able to recover in 10 seconds. If they recover in 10 seconds, the blow wasn't that bad. The knockdown was not that bad. But in Whittaker's case, we'll never know because the rules weren't there. Okay, guys, that was my rundown of the fight. Not much to break down. Brilliant fight by both guys. I thought both their strategies were really good, except Adesanya was sharper. His counterattacks were not... Whittaker wasn't able to get past his counterattacks. We saw that in round 1. We saw it quite early in round 2. I think Whittaker needs to make some adjustments to his game plan in the next round. But however, I did think he gave a great effort. All right, guys, I'm opening it up to you. Tell me your thoughts on Whittaker versus Adesanya. That's the first topic. Let's not jump around. Let's do Adesanya versus Whittaker first, and then we'll talk about Dan Hooker versus Iaquinta, and then we can open it up to other fights. Okay, so let's go. Let's give it a start. Should have Whittaker try to Adesanya down? I think what you're trying to say, Lule, is should he have tried to take Adesanya down? Personally, I don't think so. I know in hindsight it looks like it, but Whittaker is a striker. He's a gifted striker. He's an intelligent striker. I think it would have took him more time to figure out Adesanya, to figure out his style. But Whittaker's not really a takedown guy. How many fights has he won with takedowns? Really not. I can't even think of any takedowns he's really done. Maybe some scrambles and stuff like that. I mean, he's a competent wrestler. But that's not what brought him to a world championship. He's great at counter wrestling. He's great at defending himself off the ground and getting back up to his feet. But he's always been a gifted striker. I think it came down to striking. Here's why. I think if he did try to take down Adesanya, in my opinion, unless he first hurts Adesanya, he's going to get rejected, or it's going to cost him a lot of energy. It's going to fatigue him. Adesanya has proven to be hard to take down. Okay, we saw his fight with Brunson. He's proven to be very hard to take down. And even when he does get taken down, his jiu-jitsu is very good. His scrambling is very good. We saw that with Gasolin. When he got stuck underneath Gasolin, he was very active. He was scrambling back up to his feet. He's not green on the ground. He is very good on the ground. I was very surprised by how hard he was to hold down. Even with Brunson, he was very difficult to control. And they didn't really hit the mat fully, but they were scrambling a little bit back and forth. I found that Adesanya's reactions and his counterattacks were very good. And I find he's a very complete fighter. Now, is Adesanya going to be doing takedowns in the future? Maybe, because I tell you something, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good top game because he understands the bottom game. So maybe in the future he hurts a guy, this and that, and says, you know what, let me go into the other dimensions of my game and double leg someone, and maybe trip them. So that's my opinion on that. Let's get this money, coach. That's from Fabian. Fabian, thanks for the $2. I real appreciate it. Appreciate that. No, thank you, honestly. Okay, guys, with that said, now we talk about money. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Gym King, my team, Gym King. Thank you for this beautiful sweater. Love this sweater. Love your apparel. timtam.tech. I don't have my Timtam with me on now. It makes the world's best deep tissue therapy device. Guys, put in the promo code Tristar. Get the new Timtam device, the new Timtam Pro. You get a free pulse massager. It's an electrode that you put on your body. You can put on your neck, your leg, anywhere on your body. It massages you. It's a $150 gift that's given for free. So put in the Tristar code, you get the gun 10% off, you get the pulse massager for free. And we have now shipping in Canada. I do believe it started already, so we have shipping in Canada. Check that out. Don't forget tsdorms@gmail.com if you want to come train with me and the team and you want to book your room at the dorms. Email tsdorms@gmail.com. Let them know when you're coming down. They're going to give you a quote. How long you want to stay, they'll give you a quote. And we're training all day long. Okay, guys. And of course, I cannot forget Monster Energy Drink. Monster Energy Drink. Thank you for sponsoring this channel. Last but not least, jujiclub.com. Check out jujiclub.com and pick up my instructionals. All right, guys. With that said, let's keep it up. Let's keep going on the Whittaker versus Adesanya fight. What else we got here, Coach? Anything going? Farouk, you're gonna get in trouble. Pipe down. All right. Let's see here. All right, guys, don't forget, we're doing Adesanya. We're not going to stay long on Adesanya and Whittaker because the fight was quite short. I get it. Was Whittaker's chin already damaged from a Romero or Adesanya's shot too precise or both? That's from David Atias. I don't think his chin is damaged, to be honest with you. I think he looked, especially after the first knockdown, how he took it well. He came up. Whittaker looked really like in round 2, he looked like he had his wits back about him. His chin is still as strong, I would say. I just think he didn't see the shot. When he threw his punch, he was overextended. He was off balance. And he didn't see the punch, and it was a hard punch. So all that was like a perfect storm. Just a very hard thing to... and you could actually hear the shot. I don't know if it was my imagination or not. It might have been, but I felt like I heard the punch. It was a powerful shot. What else we got here? Keep up the great work, Coach. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. You're a sweet guy. All right, let's go. What else we got here? What happens to the middleweight division if Adesanya loses to Costa? That's from Geen Nam. If Costa beats him, which is a possibility, guys. I won't do the whole breakdown right now, but I think Costa has a good chance in rounds 1 and 2 to beat Adesanya. And if he doesn't knock out Adesanya in the first 2 rounds, he's going to lose. He's going to lose. He's going to get beat up. I felt that he slowed down against Yol. I felt that he slowed down against Yol in round 3. Yol won round 3. And we've seen that Costa always gets knockouts in the first round, always in the first round. So he never really felt a 3-rounder. You know, he never knew what it's like in a real fight. I'm sure he's done 3 rounds and more in practice. It's not necessarily the same when you're actually fighting, right? You have the crowd there, you have the cameras, your heart rates are higher than normal, you're nervous. What's a 5-rounder going to look like? He's never done a 5-rounder before. Now, Adesanya's been in championship fights outside of UFC. You know, he's done Glory and all that. And I know it's 3-minute rounds, but 3 minutes can be really difficult, okay, because you're working at a higher pace. So I won't just say that, three 5-minute rounds is the same as 5 5-minute rounds. It's not the same. However, you're still in deep waters and you still have that experience, okay? And I think he has that experience to go in the later rounds and stay cool and keep his wits about him and use his technique to stay fresh in there. Whereas Costa still, in my opinion, this point in his career, hasn't done that. He hasn't figured out those issues. And I think he's going to find himself in a lot of trouble in the later rounds with Adesanya. He's going to come out really strong in round 1 and start to fade from there. Will he KO Adesanya in round 1? Look, it's possible. Whenever you're doing that matrix style where you're leaning back like that, one good shot and it's over. We've seen it before, okay? We've seen Chuck Liddell do that kind of style a little bit where he leans back a little and he's been hit on the button, and what happens? You fall over. So it's a risky style. Costa's definitely got the power to put him away, but in my opinion, it goes to 5 rounds, or it goes in the later rounds, and then Adesanya gets the win. That's my opinion at this point. What else we got here? I agree. You would have to beat the count after he became more desperate and imitated Gasolin in his pushing the fight without the feints and without the patience. That's from Farouk. Look, I think he was a little bit maybe impatient. Maybe he wanted to end it because he felt like he was hurt or whatnot. But he was still touching up Adesanya. I just personally would have preferred if he hit the body, kick the leg. Don't headhunt so much. I just felt he was going for the head too much. And Adesanya was really aware that he was coming for the head, that he was shooting big punches for the head. He was really aware, and he did get touched. Don't forget, Adesanya did get touched, but he took him well. And the thing is, when you're expecting getting hit to the head, you can kind of roll with it. You can kind of brace yourself. But if you get hit to the body and you're not expecting it, and especially when the guy's leaning back like Adesanya, if you hit him in the body, it's deadly because their body is really exposed. They're not in a good position to take a punch, especially in the floating ribs. You can break a man's ribs when he's in that position. I think the oblique kick would mess up Adesanya. That's from Wands. To be honest with you, I don't think so, Wands. I'd have to disagree. That's an interesting comment. But the thing is, he's seen that before. He's really, he's been in the striking world. Most likely, he's going to move his leg out of the way. Like, if you've never tried to oblique kick, I like the oblique kick. I use the oblique kick quite a bit. But it depends on the guy I'm doing it on. If the guy doesn't know what the oblique kick is, I'm going to break his leg. If he does know what the oblique kick is, I have to go to something else. And there's some guys that just know. They've been around the block. He's seen that before. He's seen the oblique kick. It won't catch him by surprise. Very unlikely that it does a lot of damage. Not impossible. I'm not against trying it. I think it's a safe thing to try, but I don't think it would be a big factor in the fight. Whittaker was too emotional, overly rushed. Had he rushed that much, I think he would have caught Israel. If he had not rushed that much, I think is what you're trying to say. Hold on, I gotta widen up the screen here. Okay, overly rushed. Had he not rushed that much, I think he would have caught Israel. That's what you're trying to say. Okay, did he rush a bit? I would say yes, a little bit. He overpunched a bit, but again, he's in a fight. Easier said than done. It's easy for me and you to sit here and say that. With that said, I think he would agree. I think he could. I think Whittaker would agree that maybe he rushed a little bit too much. Should Robert Whittaker have gone to the legs? That's from MC. Yes, I agree. He should have kicked the leg more. Kick the body. Find the body. Then find the head. Okay, one guy's got to go in a timeout. Should I ban him, guys? Should I just ban him? He's slowing down the whole show for... Should I ban him? I like being I like the approach of a dictator when I run my show. Should I do it democratically? Should we vote who gets kicked out, who doesn't? Or should I just Kim Jong-un them and just kind of banish them? I think dictatorship will fit my show a lot better than democracy here. Whittaker is the glass cannon type fighter. Whittaker is the glass cannon type fighter. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you're trying to say he's a flash in the pan, I wouldn't say that. He beat Yoel Romero twice. He's given us incredible fights in the past. He's a true fighter. What I would encourage you, Tom, is go to his gym and tell him that, hey, Robert, tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, Robert, in my opinion, you're a glass cannon fighter. Then I'll truly believe you believe that. Then you would impress me. But I don't think you would, and I think will be your last words. So I don't recommend you actually try it. What else we got here? All right, I think that's pretty much it on this fight. I mean, it was an impressive performance. Both men fought well, but there's not much to the fight. Okay, it didn't go in deep waters, and the exchanges were quite similar. Over and over again, we saw the same exchanges. Adesanya doing his elusive counterpunching. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a brief comment on Dan Hooker. I really thought Dan Hooker was really impressive. Really impressive. Could he fight Khabib in the near future or Tony Ferguson? I think so. I think that after Ferguson, say what you will, in my opinion, after Ferguson, it has to be Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker, Gaethje have to fight. Dan Hooker, Gaethje, or Poirier have to fight. One of those two guys, Poirier or Gaethje, have to fight Dan Hooker. And the winner of that fight has to fight the winner of Tony Ferguson and Khabib. Unless McGregor gets in the picture. If McGregor beats either Poirier, Gaethje, or Dan Hooker, I think he deserves the winner of Khabib and Ferguson. So for Khabib and Ferguson, in my opinion, it has to happen. From what I understand, that's what's cooking. However, after that fight is done, 3-4 months down the line, there's going to have to be another title fight. It's got to be, in my opinion, Hooker, Gaethje, Poirier, or McGregor. Those four. You know what would be great? You know what would be fantastic? Hooker versus Poirier, Gaethje versus McGregor. And the winners of those two fight again and maybe take on the winner. But that would be maybe too far off. And you never know, let's say Khabib beats Ferguson, gets injured, then you're gonna be looking at interim fight, guys. I guarantee you. It's gonna be an interim fight. And maybe it's between those four. Okay, but Dan Hooker is in the mix after his performance against Iaquinta. I got to put him in the mix, guys. I was really impressed by his performance. I thought he fought extremely, extremely well. He has my vote for title elimination fight, and I would love to see him fight either Gaethje or Poirier. If McGregor and Gaethje has to happen, I heard that that's a possibility. That would be an incredible fight. I'm looking forward to seeing either one of those matchups. But in my opinion, guys, don't be surprised if you see Dan Hooker in a title fight in the very near future. Not 2019, but 2020. He may very well be competing for the world title. The guy looked really incredible. I was highly impressed. Okay, guys, those are the two fights I want to talk about. I'm opening up the questions to absolutely anything. We're 21 minutes in, and those are the two fights that really caught my eye. How many sessions of how many hours a pro MMA fighter train, for example? Okay, Raj, I think you're trying to say how many hours does a pro MMA fighter train on average? Look, there are some fighters that train a lot more than others. You know, some fighters, they drive me nuts. I wonder why they're pro. They're only training 3 times a week, 4 times a week. They got to a certain level, and that's all they want to do is just train that amount. Your job is to be an MMA fighter. Your job is to be, like, you have to be in the gym. In my opinion, if you're asking me how much they should be training, it should be 6 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week, and take 48 hours off. That's okay. I think the body needs a break, and sometimes even take a whole week off. And after a fight, I recommend 10 to 14 days off. Okay, so besides that, just regular training, maintenance training. I'm not in training camp, just regular maintenance training. I think it should be a 1 to 2 sessions a day. Let's say you're just maintenance. Okay, you're not maintenance. You're always growing. But I'm not in training camp yet. It should be a minimum of 1 time a day. So 6 times a week. I like twice a day. So I would say 8 to 12 times a week you should train. You should train 8 to 12 times a week. Not necessarily super hard. And that includes fitness, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling. It includes all of it. Okay, there should be between 8 to 12 sessions a week. If you're doing 6 sessions a week, in my opinion, you're training part-time. However, if you started training very young, I've seen guys who started training at like age of 5. So when they're in their 20s, they train like 4 times, 5 times a week, and they're ready to fight. And it's true. They're that good because for them, it's like riding a bicycle. So if you've been kickboxing your whole life, or you've been like wrestling your whole life, like literally when you started like really, really young, not if you started at 20 and you've been training 10 years. No, you're the kind of guy, you still need to be in the gym. But in my opinion, I've seen guys get away with a lot. And I'm talking about world-class fighters where they just train for 6 weeks right before their fight. They don't do much before. They're very rarely in the gym. Oh, fight's coming up. It's booked. Okay, 8 weeks before I start training. But I've never seen somebody who started training in adulthood do that. I've seen successful MMA fighters who started in their late teens or 20s. And they went very far in MMA. However, those were guys who worked around the clock. They had to catch up. They were playing catch up. So that's my answer to that. What else we got here? Do you think Israel should jump to the light heavyweight division for Jones and then the heavyweight for Stipe? That's from Miracle Time. I'm going to give you an emphatic no. Do not go fight John Jones. That's just my opinion. Don't fight John Jones and don't go fight Stipe. Be the middleweight champion. Become the greatest middleweight champion ever, and then think about going up. Because I'll tell you something. If he goes up against John Jones, guys, I hate to say it, but it's not going to be pretty. And I'm a big fan of Adesanya. I mean, no disrespect to the team here, the Adesanya team and all that. But John Jones is way too big, and John Jones will take him down at will. And if he takes him down, guys, it's not going to be pretty. Believe you me. Okay, I've seen John in practice. I've seen him train. Like the guy or not, he's way too much for anybody. And I'm just wondering why John just doesn't go up already to heavyweight and become double champ. I don't think he beats Stipe easily, but he's definitely in the mix to beat Stipe. Almost forgot about my coffee, guys. Don't forget to pick up your Heel Hook Everyone mug. Check it out on jujiclub.com. John Jones can go up and very possibly win the heavyweight world title fight. Can Adesanya do that? I would be shocked. If he could, he'd be the greatest fighter in history. Now, I know you're probably just saying it like that. You weren't really being serious. But I know there's been talk of him fighting John Jones. Even that I highly don't recommend. Do not go up and fight John Jones. I have the utmost respect for Adesanya. I think he's a true martial artist. He's incredible. He's probably going to go down as one of the greats pound for pound ever. However, John Jones is too much. That's just my opinion. Can non-fighters stay in the dorms at Tristar? Absolutely, Usman. Yes, we train all levels. Okay, we have room for all levels. Can non Connor versus GSP? I don't think that's ever going to happen. Thoughts on Alikuta's leg lock attempt? That's from Sem Taskin. I didn't think he was going to get it. I didn't think it was there. I didn't think it was going to finish. It's hard to do a leg lock sometimes when you have no shirt because there's not a lot of grip. There's just not a lot of grip. What is your opinion on Roberto Soldic? That's from Mr. Vlatko. Vlatko, I train the man also, okay? So I train him. He also trains at UFD, a great gym in Germany, a phenomenal gym. I was there giving a seminar. Fantastic place, fantastic team, fantastic coaching. I was there with him for his last KSW fight. That's an amazing promotion. I was really impressed by KSW. And he's currently the welterweight champion there. I think Soldic is one of the best welterweights in the world. I look forward to see him fight other major names. Gymnastic WOD no longer available. Check out Christopher Summers. He has an incredible gymnastic curriculum online. Coach, good morning from New Zealand. Have a blessed day, Harry. Thank you, Mr. Harry. Very appreciated. Assalamu alaikum, Coach. Do you think Kron Gracie wins versus Cub? That's from Sebastian. Sebastian, that is a great answer. Look, I tell you something. You guys know I love jiu-jitsu. You guys know I have a passion for jiu-jitsu. I love all the arts. Okay, I train in all the arts. Well, everybody does all the arts, but I have a sweet spot for jiu-jitsu. I love to watch Kron Gracie fight. Why? Because the style he uses. I love to watch Khabib fight. Why? Because I love grappling. I love to see Damian Maia fight. I love to see Ben Askren fight. I find it so incredibly strange when people tell me, oh, I don't like to see that guy fight, like Askren, or I'm like, what are you guys talking about? That what they're doing is like, it's so awesome, man. It's so incredibly awesome. What I dislike is it when the bell rings, they let his opponent off the ground. That drives me nuts. Like, I love to see grappling. I love to watch grappling. I watch ADCC. I watch almost every single match. I mean, I go over them all the time. I'm truly like, I love wrestling. I find it's so compelling. However, I wish MMA was 1 15-minute round. The fights would be better. I'm telling you, I promise you the fights would be better. You get more submissions. You would get more sweeps. You get much more action. All this stopping the fight, getting them out of position, starting the fight all over again on the feet is absurd. Starting the fight up off the ground is absurd, in my opinion. It's all craziness. We're going to look back years from now and we're like, what were we thinking? Just to illustrate my point, remember the Pride fights. Pride, the first round was 10 minutes. Then a 1 minute break, then a 5-minute round. 10 minutes was such a... The fights were so different. The bad thing was it was in a ring. So grappling, they'd fall out. They'd always have to stop the action. They're behind under the ropes. However, having a 10-minute round made some epic fights. We all remember there was something magical. There was something special about Pride fights. Something really, like, we couldn't put our finger on it. But as I get older, I remember now, I think it's really because it was 10-minute rounds. And 10-minute rounds took the fight in a whole different direction. And we all had so many great fight nights in Pride. So many, like, incredible performances. And if you were to think that if the round had ended after 5 minutes and started again, it would have changed the outcome of the fight completely. So many great performances would have been thwarted. There's so many submissions we wouldn't have seen. There's so many takedowns we wouldn't have seen. There's so many KOs that would have went completely different. I just think that the nature of MMA needs more time, especially because we have that grappling element. It needs more time to develop. The positions need more time to develop, and you will have drastically different outcomes. Okay, guys, I got some super chats. Let's hope they're really good. Let me go here to SEK. Have you read the book Medical Medium? Medical Medium. No, I haven't. Let me look it up real quick here. I'm going to read it. If it has good reviews, I will get that book. Let me see here. Medical Medium. I'm Googling it right now. Let's see what it is. Medical Medium, Secrets Behind Chronic and Mystery Illnesses. How to Finally Heal, Unabridged. On Audible Canada. Guess what? That's the new book. I'm going to buy it right now. Oh, no, I'm an audible.ca guy. Excuse me, on audible.com, not audible.ca. Here we go. I got 3 credits. I always buy extra credits, guys. Medical Medium. Let's see here. Let's see. What are the reviews here? Medical Medium. By Anthony Williams. Secrets behind chronic and mystery illnesses and how to finally heal. Okay, we have the summary, guys. Always get the summary first. Mega summary. Beautiful. Okay, it's $4. I'm going to buy that. And I'm going to buy the book. Summary. Medical Media. They have 2 of them. This one is 1 hour and 35 minutes. I think I'm going to get the hour-long one. Let me see here. This one is 1 hour and 8 minutes. Let's get that 1 hour and... The 1 hour and 30 minutes. Probably more thorough. By now. All right, so I'm going to go through that summary, and hopefully next time we're on doing a chat, I'll know everything about this book. Always do the summary, guys, because sometimes a book is really bad and you're like, thank God I got the summary and I didn't bother reading the book because the punchline was really, really bad. If there ever is a summary, and there are companies out there that make summaries purely on books, after you've read like 100 books, you'll realize that so many of them were bad. So many of them were bad. So when I have a physical book, I kind of skim through it. I see what the key ideas are, and do I want to go deeper? Because you can waste 7 hours reading a book that's really, really bad. Okay, so I really highly recommend always go through a review or somebody you trust who recommended you a book. This does look really interesting. Thank you for that recommendation, SEQ. I will read it, and next time we can talk about it. Next super chat is from Francisco. Coach, as a new fan of MMA, I have trouble understanding striking in MMA and striking in general. As a fan, what should I look at when 2 opponents are fighting? Well, Francisco, I would say just stick with the basics. Hands up, chin down. Are the shoulders shrugged? How's the guy's defense? Basic defense. If you're very new to MMA, you're confused, find your 3-4 favorite strikers. Watch them every day. If you're serious about striking, watch them every day. Go in the gym, try to mimic them in shadow boxing, try to mimic them on the bag, try to mimic them in sparring, and eventually you'll work out the nuances of those moves. When it comes to striking, it's about 2 things. It's about developing adequate level and your style. Striking is very dependent on style. Okay, so we saw Adesanya, he's world champion. He has a very unique style. That style is probably not going to work for you if you have a very different body type than him. Okay, so we can contrast that with Whittaker. Whittaker has a very different body type. Fights very differently. Whittaker found a way that makes sense for him. So that's the 2 things I always tell people. You have to have adequate level. Level is number 1. Okay, how much experience do I have? How much did I train? How many years have I been refining my skill? And also, did I find the right style for me? If you train for 10 years and you're not really good, it's because you didn't find the right style. If you really trained for 10 years, okay, if you weren't like cutting corners and all that. But I mean, if you've been doing your bag work, your pads, your shadow, your sparring on a regular basis, and after 10 years, you're still not really, really good. People are not like, wow, that guy's really skilled. The question is style. The experience is there. Now the style is not. Okay, so you have to find your style. Okay, what else we got here? We got another super chat. Lawrence Keshin, my boy. How are you? Lawrence Keshin, guys, if you are not subscribed to Lawrence Keshin's YouTube channel, do yourself a favor. Go to his channel and subscribe. He has one of the best channels in the world on striking technique. Okay, and that's another way. You want to know how to strike? Check out one of his videos. He's always highlighting some of the best fighters in history, what they do, their favorite techniques. That's a great way to go shop for a style. Okay, find one of those fighters that has a style that you think makes sense for you and experiment. Find your proper style. Okay, what else we got here? Another super chat. Muay Thai in the Olympics. What are your thoughts? Is Muay Thai in the Olympics? That's from Brandon. Brandon, if it is in the Olympics, about time. It's about time it's in the Olympics. I think it's going to be a fan favorite. Another super chat. All right. Thoughts on Gordon Ryan competing in MMA? Also, what weight class should he compete in? That's an interesting one. If Gordon Ryan goes in MMA, I think he'll do very well. He's gonna do similar to Gary. He's very dedicated. He's gonna go head first. He's gonna train all around the clock for MMA. He's working with John Danaher. John Danaher is extremely competent in MMA. Okay, he's one of the greatest MMA coaches in history. He knows a lot about MMA. He's not just a jiu-jitsu expert. So he'll be able to guide Gordon, and of course, we're always going there. We can be able to help him as much as we can. I think he'll go very far. He's very athletic. His ability to finish is obviously, probably the greatest in history. His ability to finish is arguably the greatest in history. Without a doubt, in my opinion, John Danaher is the greatest grappling mind in history. Look how fast he's making black belts, world-class black belts. Look how quickly he's producing world champions at ADCC. It's incredible. In my opinion, with that team together, they're going to go very, very far. I think I had another super chat I might have missed. What weight class should he compete? Maybe 205. Maybe start at 205. How do you convince a fighter to move up in weight? That's from Vicky Z. Vicky, I don't really convince them. I feel like if their weight cut is really, really bad, let's say they're trying to fit in 170 and they have a horrific weight cut, and after their fight, I like my fighters to experiment. Okay, you did 170, it didn't fit right. You normally in the gym you could do 3 rounds very easily, and in your fight you can barely do 1. Something went wrong with the weight cut. Let's go to 185 and see what. I asked them to explore after they've had a bad performance. If I, saw the guy train, he didn't cut corners, he actually really, really prepared, he performed really well in the gym, but he didn't perform really well in the fight, it's very likely he was dehydrated, he cut too much weight. It does happen. I've seen guys lose the fight in the weight cut. I've seen it. The weight cut was so bad, the guy goes in the fight, doesn't react, he gets hit, he's not moving, and he's fighting a guy maybe who's below his level even. If I take those 2 guys and I put them in the gym and there was no weight cut, he'll crush that guy. And I've seen that before. However, then that's when I'll start to convince him. I'm like, you know what? Go higher weight. And not doing that weight cut, you'll actually be able to show your skill. All that training will be there with you when you're fighting. For those of you who've never cut weight, it could be an ordeal. Now, I've seen guys go down a weight class and have a better career. So sometimes it's a question of trial and error. Go into the weight class you think makes most sense. If it doesn't work out well, and there's no other shining reason, you're doing your training, you're performing well in practice. If you're performing well in practice and not in the fight, a high possibility is weight cutting. Okay. What are the super chats here? Okay, we're good. Askren versus Maya prediction. Tom Sheen. Wow, this is one of my. I'm really looking forward to this fight. Is it this weekend or next week? I can't recall. But I'm not going to miss it. Don't worry. I'm going to be watching. I know there's a UFC this weekend. I'm going to be watching. That's for sure, regardless if they're fighting or not. But that's one fight I'm not going to miss. And we'll probably have to do a post-fight analysis just for us diehard grapplers. Listen, if Ben Askren wins, it's because he pinned him. And he's riding out the clock. He's doing his ground and pound. He's pinning him. If Maya wins, it's via submission. Or he can win by dominance as well. So Maya would have 2 ways to win: submission and by dominant position, whereas Askren has to win only by dominant position. It's going to be interesting. Is Askren going to shoot nonstop, or is he going to try to actually box? Is he actually going to try to box? Is Maya going to come in with a flying knee? Is he going to try to do like a Muay Thai knee? What is he going to do? There's so much at play. There's so much on the table. I can't wait to see Damian Maya defending takedowns. How is he going to look when he's defending takedown? Is he going to go to the guillotine? Is he going to go to half guard? How is he going to work? How is he going to look? What is it going to look like? Jiu-jitsu half guard versus funk wrestling. I have so many questions. I don't know the answers to these questions. I really want to tune in. If I have to make a pick, I don't know. It's just too hard for me to pick. Honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen. Their styles are so different. And I'm just going to be tuning in. This one, I'm speechless for this one, guys. I'm honestly speechless. If there was no time limit, I would go Damian Maya. If there was no time limit, I would pick Damian Maya. But because there's a time limit, I think it's 50-50. Lawrence Keshin, thanks for the shout out. Who wins in ping pong match, Lawrence Keshin or Faraz Zahabi? Lawrence, my friend, you're the Asian guy. You know the ping pong ball. You're going to beat me. I know. I'm not very good with a paddle. Lawrence, you were probably born with a Keshin. Your name is Keshin. You must have been born with this in your hand, this weapon, a samurai sword in one hand, a ping pong paddle in the other. Us Arabic guys, we're not very good at ping pong. You don't see us in the Olympics very often in ping pong. So I have to bow down and make sure. I know you're gonna win. This is your win for sure. All right, what else we got here? Dorms pricing, please. The guys, it's really not expensive. You'd have to Google, email them. Maybe I'll have to ask them, and because I really don't know the prices. But I'm gonna get you guys a basic price next time. so I can verbalize it on the show, because I really don't know, but I heard it's a really, really good price. People are always happy when they come in. Crone or Cub. Listen, guys, I'm going to go. It's so hard to call. But I just feel it's Crone's time right now. Like, he's either going to make it now, he's either going to beat Cub, or it's not going to get better for him. This is his time, so I think he has to win. I think when he has a have to win, he's going to win. But time we'll see. I believe that Crone versus Cub is this weekend, so I'm really going to be sure to tune in. Sup, man? You think Romero beats Adesanya? That's from Carrie Haley. No, I don't think Yoel beats Adesanya. It could happen, obviously. I mean, he's Yoel Romero. He's super explosive. He's super powerful. I just feel it's Adesanya's time. I think he wins 2-3 in a row now. I think it's Adesanya's time. I don't think there are many guys who are going to beat him. I know MMA math doesn't work. You could say Robert beat Yoel, therefore Adesanya beat Robert, so therefore Adesanya should beat Yoel. I don't believe in that. It doesn't work. Usually it's rock, paper, scissors. It doesn't work. Usually you find the opposite. You'd find that, okay, Whittaker beat Yoel beat Adesanya beat Whittaker. Usually it's more like that. Okay, when you have these kind of matches going around, like the top 5 fighting each other. One is the antagonist of another. One, the cookie crumbled a certain way for one. I just think that regardless, I'm not saying that because of MMA math is what I'm trying to tell you. My decision is not based on MMA math. I just think it's Adesanya's time. I think he's at his peak, and Yoel is just a little bit past his peak. But again, the fight will have to take place. Look up Live Rescue. It's quite interesting. It's a book. Live Rescue. Thank you, Sec. That's another book I'll have to look up. I'm not going to do that right now because I already ate up some time on books, but I will check out Live Rescue. Thank you for that recommendation. This one is from Emilio X. Any tips? I am a skilled, explosive boxer at 24. I want to fight pro in MMA and get to the UFC. Love the show, coach. Well, no, Emilio, I really appreciate that. I suggest you start your grappling. If you're a very skilled boxer, I would suggest adding some Muay Thai and, of course, some wrestling and Jiu-Jitsu. But if you spent a lot of years doing boxing, you need to spend 2-3 months just really focused on wrestling and Jiu-Jitsu, maybe even 6 months, and then kind of tone it down and bring back the boxing in, because if you take a break from boxing for 3 to 6 months, it won't hurt your boxing. You get right back into it. The first few sessions will be tough, but eventually your skill level will resume to where it was, because you absolutely have to learn grappling and wrestling if you want to do MMA. Boxing is definitely not enough. Thoughts on Kobe versus Kumaru. Man, that's a really tough one as well. These fights are so difficult to call because they're two elite fighters, and it's just it's going to come down to style. I do believe Kumaru is a bit too much. I think Kumaru is going to be able to stop the takedown, and I think he's going to edge out Kobe in the striking. Neither fighter really is a KO guy, a big KO puncher. However, it's going to come down to volume. Kobe's volume versus Usman's ability to control the fight. I think Usman does control the fight. It's not going to be easy. And of course, when I say volume, I'm including the cardio. Kobe's going to be like a pit bull. Excuse me. Can Usman keep up with that cardio? I think he has enough to win 3 rounds. Enough. Maybe. Okay. Does Kobe break Usman, fatigue Usman, and Usman is just completely softened up, broken, smashed on the ground? It is possible. I wouldn't put anything past Kobe. He's a very dangerous guy. He's a very impressive athlete. However, it could happen. Okay, we all know that. However, I don't think it will. I think that Usman wins 3 and Kobe wins 2. Maybe Kobe wins 3 and Usman wins 2, but I doubt Kobe wins 5. I don't think Usman wins 5. I think it's going to be a seesaw battle. I don't think it's a one-sided affair. I think it's a seesaw battle. Does Usman win 3 or Kobe win 3? I don't know. It's a tough one. Very tough one. What do you think? Excuse me. At what point, this is from Ignace. Ignace asks, at what point would you advise to start drilling BJJ techniques from both sides? Okay, that's a great question. Let's take George St. Pierre, for instance. George St. Pierre trains every technique on every side. So if he does one technique to the left, he does it to the right. And that comes from his karate days that they were so symmetrical in their training. Everything is perfectly symmetrical. Now, in my opinion, I don't do that. Me and George have a difference of opinion here. I work some moves to my right and some moves to my left. Okay? Now, if you take Marcelo Garcia is a huge influence of mine. He only chokes with one arm. He only guillotines with one arm. He only passes in a certain way to one side and passes to the other way. It passes to his right with one particular pass and passes to his left with a set of particular passes. So his passing to the left is not the same for his passing to the right. Now, there are some moves he uses both left and right. There are some, yes. Okay. However, if you look at the Mendes brothers, the Mendes pass to the left with the same moves they pass to the right. Not all the same moves, not always, but far more than, let's say, a Marcelo Garcia. Okay, so they'll do knee cut left, knee cut right. Me, I personally knee cut only one side, and if I go the other side, it's a different style of knee cut. I use very different moves on both sides. Throughout the years of training, I've come to realize that I do get caught on the bad side doing the move on my wrong side. I do. And I always find myself having to fumble around getting to the good side, my good side. I do find that out. And I did start drilling more techniques to my right and to my left than I used to. For that very purpose, because I would find myself on the wrong side and my opponent forced me to that side. And now I'm almost like I have nothing I can do. So I think it's a question of balance. How many moves? Should I do all my jiu-jitsu moves like George? Should I be like George St. Pierre? All my moves I do all of the jiu-jitsu moves in the game, I have to do them right and left. Or is there a balance? Some I do just right and some I do right and left. I believe it's a balance because some moves I will never do on both sides. Some moves, guys, I'm telling you, once you understand moves, me when I'm drilling, when I'm coaching, I'm teaching in class, I'll tell them, guys, this move, I recommend you only do it on one side because you'll never need it to the other side. You'll never, ever need it. Now, if you never need it to the other side, why waste the time drilling it? Marcelo said it best. He said, look, you'll be so-so on either side. Instead of having one really good side, no, it's better to have a killer side. One side that if you get to that position, you're going to crush the guy. That's your good side. You're not going to fail. Now, let's take a look. Let's look at it in a different way because that might sound very confusing. Let me make it crystal clear. Let's say you're a boxer or a kickboxer. It doesn't matter. Should you switch sides as you're fighting? Should you be like Adesanya? Or should you be one side? Always the same side. Like Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, etc. The one side camp, the camp that does just one side, is far more successful. There have been far more world champions that only stand in one stance. I can think of 100 of them right off the top of my head. In MMA, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, because you have jiu-jitsu passing only one way, one type of pass to the right and one type of pass to the left. You have so many more world champions on the one side is right. You don't drill it on the other side. Okay? But you do have a guy like Adesanya, like Wonder Boy. Certain guys, they switch stance. As they're fighting, they switch stance. Now, I remember Mayweather's comments when he was fighting McGregor. He was like, I know what he's going to do I know what he's going to do in his fight against me. He's going to switch stances on me. He goes, when he does that, he's just wasting energy. This is the common attitude of the single side mindset. The camp of, no, I'm going to be so good on one side, I'll never need the other side. That's what they say. They say that if you switch side, you're just wasting time and energy and training time. It's useless. Why do they say that? Let me tell you why they say that. Because they reached a level that whether the guy's a southpaw or a righty, it doesn't make any difference to them. If you're fighting Mayweather's seen so many southpaws. To him, whether you're southpaw or righty or you're switching stance, doesn't bother him in the least. He's as comfortable fighting an orthodox fighter as he is a lefty. Let's say you're playing guard. Are you as comfortable with somebody passing to your left as they are passing to your right? If it's true, then it doesn't matter the guy does both sides. What matters if he has one side that's really, really powerful. Because if he's so on each side, he's never going to pass unless you have a weakness. Some grapplers, I'm telling you, I've seen grapplers, if you pass them to your right, they're horrible. They have no defense on their left side. So my right side, if I'm passing to my right, the guy can't defend on his left. He gets killed. He gets crushed. A great example of this. Eddie Bravo in Abu Dhabi. And I love Eddie Bravo. What's up, Eddie Bravo? Props to Eddie Bravo. He's one of the great grapplers in our generation. He beats Royler Gracie, a world champion, Abu Dhabi world champion. He defeats him in Abu Dhabi. Colossal win for Eddie Bravo. Then after that, in his next match, he fights Leo Vieira. Leo Vieira decides to pass to the right. He ended up, I can't remember the score, but it was a huge score, 2-0. So Leo Vieira beat him he kept passing his guard over and over again. And after the match, Eddie Bravo, at that time, he's like, look, I have no left side. I don't know how to defend to his right. He goes, I don't know how to defend to that side. And he just got passed. He kept getting passed. He's only good on one side. He only has one comfortable side. He has to be on his right shoulder when he's playing his half guard. So if you go to his other side, he doesn't have. So if Leo's passing to Leo's right, he has no side. So he kept getting passed. Now over the years, I'm sure he patched that up. He fixed it, etc. However, there are grapplers that got it. There's one side that's really weak, and if you know that guy has a weak side, just keep passing and passing and passing. So, in my opinion, just to sum up, there's some things you have to have on both sides. Like regarding, you have to be amazing at regarding on both sides. However, if you're doing the rear naked choke, you can get away with doing it just to one side. Okay, now I do rear naked choke with both sides. That's another exception. I like both sides because as you're fighting, it's I can always. But Marcelo Garcia, he says no, I only choke with one arm. He's gonna get to his good arm, and I believe that's obviously both schools of thought are good. You have to find which one fits best for you, because you could always find another world-class black belt that does it a different way. And if there's a world-class black belt that does it a different way, in my opinion, that's a legitimate style. And if that fits better for you, do it. However, if you look at both camps, if we were to weigh both camps, it seems like the camp that stays one-sided has far more champions on that side. So is it because it's better, or is it because it fits the general public better? That's an answer we'll probably never have. That's why I consider I recommend you explore which style is best for you. I couldn't do it like George. Like George has to be so symmetrical. For me, I can't do it like that. It doesn't work for me. I'm water fasting for 3 days. It's hard. That's from Freddie Jackson. Freddie, 3 days is plenty, man. I wouldn't go further than that. I think that's plenty. Make sure you're well informed on the pros and cons of fasting. In my opinion, you shouldn't fast too often, too intense. There's pros and cons to fasting. There are good things to fasting, really, really good things. But make sure you do your research and you know the ins and outs, because if you fast for too long, too intensely, you could lose a lot of muscle, and you don't want to lose muscle. I don't know how old you are, but as you get older, keeping muscle on your body is extremely important. We want to keep fat off, muscle up, and testosterone high. Okay, so be careful with over fasting. Another super chat. Can you talk about George's ACL injury and what you guys did to strengthen his knee and all the details around preventing it from happening again? That's from Majid. Majid, check out SSL Sports Science Lab. Check it out. And also read The Supple Leopard. I can't go into it again because I've talked about it too many times in the show, and my listeners are going to go wild if I talk about it again. So let's go on to the next one. But those two resources are a must. Check it out. I do a week fast every year. That's from Alan 2019. That makes sense. You know, I'm sure that helps keep your body healthy. You know, but again, there's also, I believe there's too much fasting, so you have to be careful with that. Okay, what else we got? Another super chat. Can you fight pro with a DVD at Semtip? That's from UA. Yes, you can. Absolutely. I think you can. Hey coach, Islam call out Hooker on Twitter. What do you think of this matchup? That's from Niels. That's a great, incredible matchup. That's another, you know what? I forgot about Islam. Islam is also coming off a big win against David Ramos. I think that's a very, very interesting fight. Very, very interesting fight. Islam is, and I think he has only one loss. I think he's like on a 6-fight winning streak. Actually, I did forget about him. That's absolutely very interesting. I think I'd rather see that actually than Poirier versus Hooker at this point. I think it's a more interesting matchup. However, I still would be very happy to see Dan Hooker fight Poirier. I think that's an epic fight. But Islam is, in my opinion, on a hot streak right now. So that would be two runaway trains facing each other. Very interesting matchup. Till versus Gasolin prediction. That's from Uten. Uten, you know what? I have a big belief in Gasolin. I like Till. I know he's moving up a weight class. He looks huge and all that. But Gasolin, man, he's like, I'm telling you, I've trained with him in the past. He's a special athlete. He's very, very, very athletic. Very strong, powerful guy. I think he gets past Darren Till's strikes and all that, and eventually he puts it on him. I think he's going to put it on Darren Till. Standing up on the ground, whatever you call it, man. He's going to push through, and he's going to get the job done. Not a very easy job. Of course, we don't know what Till's going to look like at 185. It's still a mystery, but I still have a big belief that Gasolin will get the job done. For us, who do you think is better, Henry Cejudo or TJ? That's from AMR. AMR, we saw that fight. Henry was too much for him. Henry was, he was just another level. Coach, rock, paper, scissors. What is your strategy? That's from Zam. Zam, we are 1 hour in, and that's a great question. We're 57 minutes in. Let me explain to you guys one little thing, okay? Obviously, rock, paper, scissors. There's no best answer, but I was witness to the greatest rock, paper, scissor game in the history of rock, paper, scissors. My kids, my two sons have a channel. And every so often they do a challenge. My two sons, they challenge each other, whatever, who can eat the most peppers, who can down cinnamon, who can whatever, do the most push-ups. They're always challenging each other. And Noah and Eamon, they have a channel. One day we did, we're going to do a rock, paper, scissors game. And I explained them the rules of rock, paper, scissors, and we started to play. And it was the first one to get 10 wins the whole thing. And oftentimes there's a consequence on the line or whatnot. And my son Eamon, the younger son, he kept flashing paper. And he was down 6-0. Listen to me. He was down 6-0. Noah, my older son, was like, this kid doesn't stop flashing paper. Let me just go scissor. So now here comes the seventh round. And I'm sure Eamon's going to flash paper, even though I've just explained to him that, he can use other symbols. And sure enough, and I don't understand, I know he understands the game, but he's just like, no, don't worry about it. I know the rules. He just keeps flashing paper. So then, sure enough, he flashes rock, wins a round. Flashes scissors. And he's just playing with Noah's mind. And the game reaches to 9-9. He went from 6-0 to 9-9. It was this crazy game where he was so behind, and then all of a sudden he's neck and neck. And I'm like, okay, now this is the last one. Somebody has to win. This is the last. What's in this young man's mind? He's been using paper nonstop, and it put him in the hole. And now he's back. He's a neck and neck. It's the last round. There's got to be a winner. So they both shoot. And what does Eamon do? He flashes. Lo and behold, paper. Noah thinking he's not crazy enough to flash paper again. That paper put him in the hole. Not he almost lost this. He almost got skunked. He almost got wiped off the game. He almost got beat 10-0 because of this symbol. Lo and behold, the last round, when the chips were down, he throws paper. Noah throws rock, expecting that Eamon was going to throw a scissor. Boom! He wins with paper. It was unbelievable. I was like, is my son a genius, or does he not understand the game? I couldn't tell you. Does my son have a learning disability, or is he the greatest strategic mastermind in history? I still can't tell you to this day. I mean, I know for sure he doesn't have a learning disability, but is he thinking is he like a Napoleon or something? I still sometimes he says he does incredible things, and it's really incredible. But yes, he basically psyched out his older brother, made him think that the last thing he was going to do was paper. Boom. And he wins the game with paper. Check out that match online if you guys get a chance. Thoughts on charging money for giving belts in BJJ? That's from Alvaro. Alvaro, me personally, I only charge you for the belt. So I charge you like $20. We buy the belts for like $15 to send the guy out to go get the belts. We give him $5 a belt. The belt, I always tell guys, you paid with your sweat and your training and you paid your membership. There's no need to pay a belt. I find that that's just a money grab. Well, that's how I feel. I've never paid for a belt. My trainer never paid for a belt. The whole line, all the way to Maeda, nobody ever paid for a belt. And now this guy comes along and he's like, okay, I got my belt, black belt. How am I going to milk my student? Even though they didn't charge me for my belt. Some of you might say, coach, it's a different time. You know, BJJ schools are competitive now. We have to make money. I still feel funny about it, guys. I understand. I'm not going to say it's a sin. I'm not going to say it's like evil. I'm not going to do all that, okay? Because I understand that some schools are barely breaking even. So I'm going to be sensitive to that. However, I still feel funny about it. Oh, we're going to do a test day. But no jiu-jitsu guy ever did a test day. Oh, yeah, you're going to have to come and demonstrate all the moves, and you're going to do this test, and this test requires my attention. Therefore, you have to pay $200. And then the guy lines up 20, 30 students. They all pay him $200, and he goes on vacation the next week. So he does a belt ceremony, makes a couple of G's, and then he's on vacation for 2-3 weeks enjoying it. Like, I just find that so, like, not what we grew up in. It's so new. It's such an innovation. It became so corporate. It became so... It just sits funny with me. I'm not that type of guy. I love business. Don't get me wrong. I don't like to shame people who make money. Make money. I always tell people you shouldn't be ashamed for buying and selling and trading and investing. People who hate, I hate the fact that some people, like, I always find that whenever you're making a living, earning a living, somebody comes and criticizes, you're trying to make money. Yeah, of course I'm trying to make money. Of course, there's no shame in making money. Everybody makes money. You got to pay your bills. When the electricity bills comes in, I don't call the company and shame them for wanting money from me. No, I just pay them. I use the service. Money is what makes trade possible. However, I just find that the tradition is really being exploited a bit because nobody got their belts like this, and I just feel like when there's money involved, you want to give more belts. And like some schools do a ceremony every September and every December or whatever. Like you're getting your belt. So people start showing up to the gym because they know the belt promotion's coming up, and you can't not promote the guy because it's scheduled on this day, and if you pass him over, he's going to feel bad. And there becomes all this politics. Whereas like yesterday, I gave away a blue belt, and my student was completely shocked. My student yesterday, when I gave her the blue belt, she was so shocked. Why? Well, she deserves it, but there's no ceremony, there's no date. That way I don't feel like I have a pressure to promote people. Like we've done it where we're like, okay, guys, on September, we're going to do a ceremony. Why? Because we saw so many people needed to be promoted. Okay, I'm going to do it all at once. Or there's a few black belts I got to give out. So, okay, so now these 3 guys are black belts. I'm going to give them all their black belts at the same time, which is a very rare occurrence. Okay, we're going to group everybody up. So sometimes I'll call for a ceremony. Sometimes. But it's not a yearly thing, clockwork. I have to give you your belt. No. It doesn't work like that. I feel that people get promoted way too fast. And you harm the student because then the student's walking around with a brown belt, but he's not really a brown belt. And then some blue belt comes and cleans house. And it's like the guy, he doesn't want to roll no more. Why? Because he's getting schooled by the blue belts. But you did that to him. Why'd you give him a brown belt? A brown belt is a great responsibility. You have to carry that. You have to be worth a brown belt, or else you feel like it's fraudulent. You're on the mat and you feel like, I feel embarrassed. I'm a brown belt. They gave me a brown belt, but I don't know much, or I don't feel like I'm a brown belt. I like to give my students the belt, and they're like, man, I deserve this belt. I can really carry this. It's not a burden on me. I'm not ashamed to be called purple belt or black belt. I can carry this responsibility. They need to have that confidence. Okay, we got here. This is from D. For a complete beginner, do you recommend starting with one discipline and then learning others once you're confident with it, or starting with several disciplines and from the get-go? I believe you should do one discipline for like 5-6 days a week and sprinkle around the other disciplines. Okay, so think about having a major. Let's say you majored in medicine, but you're still learning geography. You're doing a little bit of it. Be an expert in one thing, like concentrate in one thing. And so I always tell guys, look, if you want to get really good at MMA, you have to do a lot more work. So you could do your jiu-jitsu class every single day. After jiu-jitsu class, have a shake, after your jiu-jitsu class. Have a shake, refresh yourself, and then do your shadow box routine or your bag routine. And yes, you're not going deep in the boxing. You're not going deep in the Muay Thai. It's a very superficial workout. It's just 20-30 minutes, but that's going to add up. And then you're going to flip things around. You're going to do Muay Thai every day, and you're just going to maintain your jiu-jitsu. You're going to do jiu-jitsu 2-3 times a week, and the other days you're going to be going boxing, sparring, hitting bag, doing your boxing workouts. You're going to flip it around. You're going to concentrate on the boxing, but you're always going to maintain your jiu-jitsu. Okay, so I find that this is called cycling. You're cycling. You're going through different cycles of training, and cycling is where it's at. Okay, trying to do everything at once is complicated, difficult. You're never going to maintain the nuances of that sport. Coach, do you think Islam Makhachev beats Justin Gaethje? That's from Farouk. Farouk, you're out of your timeout. Wow, welcome back, Farouk. I'm interested to know how old you are. Put it in the comment section, please. I want to see how old you are. I'm going to give you a tongue lashing if you're not in your teens. If you're not like at 13, 14, you're going to get a tongue lashing. You were very naughty in the chat room. Okay, who do I think wins, Islam Makhachev or Justin Gaethje? Tough fight to call, but if I had to give a call, I would say Islam. I think his striking is cleaner, and he'll eventually get a takedown here and there, and he'll bank in the rounds. Hey, Coach Zahabi, I just want to say I love you. That's from Vlada. Vlada, love you right back, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate that. Sean, I already did that. That's the beginning of the episode. Please check it out. Okay, Coach. Coach. Sorry, haha. Just trying to have a laugh real quick. That's from Farouk. Farouk, you're 20 years old. Ya Latif, man. You're lucky we're not in the same room together, Mr. Farouk. All right, Farouk. I left you off the hook this time, but please behave in the chat room. Okay, what else we got here? For us, I sent a super chat. That's from Ben. Ben, let me see here. Okay, we got D. For a complete beginner, do you recommend starting with one? Oh, no, I did this one. Hold on, Ben. Hold on. Did I miss Ben? How did I miss Ben? Ben, I don't see it. Codex. Coach Zahabi, can you be a complete fighter with just boxing and grappling class? I don't have time to do Muay Thai. By the way, keep up the good work. Codex, thank you, buddy. But no, you will not be a complete fighter. No, one day you're going to get hit by an elbow and you're like, what was that? You're going to get hit by a knee, or you're going to be doing your boxing and some guy's going to kick you in the head and you're going to be like, wow, I got major gaps in my game. You will not be able to be a complete fighter without Muay Thai. Essential BJJ skills for no rules self-defense. Well, you know what? For no rules self-defense, you really need just the most basic maneuvers. Like, I personally would not do armbar in the street. Not the basic armbar. I would do an armbar where I hide my foot, where my leg's not really across his face. So, look, it would come down to, if you were in a street fight, it would come down to rear naked choke most of the time. Guillotine. I wouldn't do triangle, right, for obvious reasons. I would do triangles in a particular way where I could protect my groin, but if you don't know what you're doing, if you're basic, don't do triangles. So you're looking for mount, you're looking for back takes, you're looking for guillotines, and of course, rear naked choke will probably be your best bet. Would I do Kimura on the street? Yeah, I could see myself doing a Kimura, but it will be very rare. It wouldn't happen as often. I would stick with rear naked choke and guillotine, and of course, mount and back take should be quite easy in a basic street fight with somebody who's untrained. All right, we got another super chat. Coach, I need a training plan for learning BJJ for self-defense purposes only. What's the path for a beginner? I really like the Gracie Academy. Henner Gracie has a phenomenal program for jiu-jitsu, for self-defense. If you're ever in Torrance, California, go check out their academy. I've been there. It's a phenomenal academy. They have a phenomenal training program. I've gotten to train with both brothers, Henner and Huron. They are amazing teachers. They have been teaching since they're kids. They've been doing jiu-jitsu since the day they were born. Okay, the first day they were born, they were doing jiu-jitsu. They know the game, and they know self-defense, and they know MMA, and they know everything you want to know about protecting yourself in the street. They're true experts. So I would go check out Gracie University, or if you get a chance, go to Torrance, California. They have a phenomenal program there. Okay, what else we got here? You missed my super chat too. Wow, there's a lot of super chats I'm missing. Where are these super chats? I'm not seeing them. Sorry guys, I'm really keeping my eye out for the super chats. I'm doing my best here, but I seem like I did them all. Okay, gonna have to move on. What cryptocurrencies are you into currently? That's from Haroon. Haroon, you know what? I've parked my cryptocurrency. I really feel like I'm gonna wait for Bitcoin Classic, the original, to go down below like 5,000. If it crashes again below 5,000, I'll buy more. Again, guys, this is not any advice. Don't take this advice. Take it with a grain of salt. I think it's worth at least 10,000. I think. Listen, guys. I think it's gonna go to 100,000. I think, dare I say it, it's gonna go to 500,000 in the long run. In the long run, the way I see it is this: if the market crashes in Europe or America or Australia or Canada, my Bitcoin is gonna be worth a lot. But I didn't go so deep in Bitcoin that I'm going to lose my shirt if it goes to zero. If Bitcoin, I wake up tomorrow and it goes to zero, I'm not going to shed a tear. I'm not going to worry about it. I already locked in my investment. I already kept it. It's safe. If it explodes, one day I'll never sell my Bitcoin. I'm going to spend my Bitcoin. I'm going to buy properties with it one day. I'm going to invest it in something one day, but I'll never cash it in. Personally, I'm never cashing it in. If it goes to $500,000 tomorrow, if a Bitcoin is worth $500,000, I might sell one Bitcoin and I made everything back and more, and I made a profit and I'm really happy. But the rest of the Bitcoins, I'm going to keep them. Why? I really think that one day a market is going to crash here and there, and whoever's holding Bitcoin is safe, or not safe, is in a prime position. And I like Bitcoin Classic. I just think it's in people's minds. Yes, there are new cryptos, but there are so many of them. The regular Joe can't even tell the difference between them. But Bitcoin, the first one, is tried and true. And tomorrow when it forks into some other crypto, you get, if you guys don't know, let's say you buy Bitcoin, the original, and tomorrow there's a new Bitcoin branch, or a new Bitcoin variation, I should say, and they branch off the original Bitcoin. You get those Bitcoins if you had the originals. So people are always going to want to use the ledger. I think they're always going to want to use the ledger of the oldest crypto, which is Bitcoin. They're never going to start from scratch. Nobody's going to go, we've invested too much money to start from scratch again. The original investors are always going to want to fork from the original Bitcoin. This is my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not something I study day in and day out. This is just my opinion. I think people are always going to fork off the original Bitcoin. I'm in the original Bitcoin. I'll only buy more if it's undervalued. If it's undervalued, in my opinion, it has to be below 5K. If it's below 5K, I'm going to buy it. Why? Because I'm not that sure it's going to go to 500,000. I'm not that sure it's going to go to 100,000. I'm not that sure. If I was, I would buy it right now. If I was in the 99th percentile, it's going to go 500,000. I would buy as much Bitcoin as I can buy right now. Why? It's free money. But I'm not that sure. I think it could crash like it can soar. But because it could soar, I invested some. And I'm happy with it. I'm trying to make heads or tails on these comments. I'm not understanding. Jérôme Lanier, father of VR, says Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. Well, possibly, but so is currency today. The money you carry in your wallet, it's all a big Ponzi scheme. What does it represent? It represents nothing. We haven't had the dollars in your pocket. If you have $100 bill, what is it? It's a piece of paper. It represents nothing. It's nothing. It's a Ponzi scheme. You go to your banker and you ask him for $1,000 loan. He just pushes some buttons in the computer. He's allowed to lend out 10 times what he has in the bank. He just pulled that money out of thin air. It's nothing. I totally agree. If we have consensus that it's worth something, when you go to your baker, he accepts those dollar bills that you give him. They're worth nothing. If tomorrow we all wake up and we decide we're trading pebbles, we're no longer trading dollars. Okay, pebbles maybe not a good example. Let's say tomorrow we wake up and we say, look, we're trading seashells. Seashells are not infinite. And that's what we're trading. If everybody agreed, dollars would be worth nothing. My apologies. So really, what is money? What is that piece of coin that coin you have in your pocket? What is it? What does it represent? It doesn't represent gold anymore. It doesn't represent anything. It's just something we give consensus to. Bitcoin has certain consensus. And I believe that consensus is going to grow. Because as people understand the technology, it's going to explode. The only problem is people don't understand the technology. It will come. Just like cell phones. Just like when text messages came out, I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. I was like, why wouldn't you just call the guy? Why would you text him? That's ridiculous when they first came out. Now when somebody calls me instead of texting me, I'm like, why the hell? Why on earth would you call me? Just text me. You didn't have to call me. You could just text me. Why would you bother me to pick up the phone and say hello and do the whole routine when you could have just texted me the information? So I think that's where we're at. It's going to be, one day me and you are going to make a transaction. It's going to be a text between me and you and no third party. That's going to be the most efficient, and the most efficient is going to be what everybody's going to want. There's going to be no bank between me and you taking fees, and there's going to be no government between me and you putting money in his pocket and making the process complicated and meddling in our business. It's going to be efficient, quick, fast, and easy. Okay, we got another super chat. Sheepdog. Coach, what is the standard of push-ups, pull-ups, and squats, compounded lifts you'd expect people to maintain? The deadlift 2.5 times body weight and 30 push-ups in a row, 8 pull-ups as an example. Okay, what is the standard? Listen, I think you should be able to deadlift at least 2 times your weight. 2.5 is good, but don't go further than that. Even I would say 3 is too much. 3 times your body weight, you went too much. You're not doing enough skill work. You're never going to need that much deadlifting power. 30 push-ups is good. I think that's okay. I don't really have a standard for push-ups. I'm more for the compound lifts. Okay. 8 pull-ups is an example. 8 pull-ups in a row is okay. It's good. But I'm more concerned about how heavy you can pull up. So for me, it's this. If your maximal strength is there, we can build endurance. Let's say you gave me 2 athletes. Athlete A, he can only bench press 50% of his weight. Athlete B, he can bench press 2 times his body weight. Now I take athlete A and athlete B and I make them do a series of push-ups. And I'm trying to build their endurance. Athlete A, the guy who can only bench press 50% of his body weight, he's never going to have great endurance, and he's never going to have great endurance. There's nothing to endure. He's good at being weak for a long time. Like there's nothing to endure. There's nothing I can maintain. He's so weak, the guy. However, the guy who can bench press twice his body weight, I'm going to take him from 10 push-ups to 15 push-ups to 30 push-ups to 50 push-ups. Now his endurance is better, yes? His strength has gone down, but not so down that he can't move a guy on the mat. Okay, he's still strong enough to move people on the mat. And then we'll go through a cycle of rebuilding his max and then going through a cycle of endurance. Okay, so you get what I'm trying to say? Endurance is trying to endure something. It's trying to keep something on the table. What is it we're trying to keep? Well, strength, power. So I don't really count reps of endurance. I don't really count that. I look at the guy's max strength and then I make him do cycles of endurance. And why don't I count reps? Because I'm more of a time guy. So I want to see how fast you can run a 400 meter. So let's say you run a 400 meter in 1:05. I want to know, can we get it down to 1 minute? And then before your fight, are we down to 1 minute? So I'm not really counting reps. I never count reps in the gym. I never look, hey, do you do 15 pull-ups? I look at their max strength and then let's say I'm doing a 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off on the Airdyne. Okay, keep it at 30 kilometers an hour for 30 seconds. And then the next 30 seconds, the rest, you can keep it at 15 kilometers or 10 kilometers, just relax. And then we're going to go through another 30 seconds at 30 kilometers. And so I'm more about time and output and wattage. I don't really count reps when we're doing endurance. Okay, guys, I know I got some super chats. You guys are shooting at me real quick here. For us, can you speak of Ryan Hall's striking style? Harry, thank you for that question. Unfortunately, I cannot really talk about fighters that I train because then it'll become an issue where fighters are worried about what kind of info after I see all their training. I know all the stuff that they do. Am I sharing it with you guys? It wouldn't be right. Okay, so unfortunately, like I've said many times in the past, I cannot comment on the fighters that I train. Thoughts on traditional Chinese martial arts in MMA? Well, we haven't seen much of it, right? So I do like the classic martial arts like Taekwondo, karate, Savat, and all these things. Okay, so traditional martial arts, I wouldn't say they're all Chinese, but if it works in UFC, I believe it's a true art. But unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of the Chinese style martial arts. So it remains to be seen. Or if you consider Taekwondo and all these things to be traditional martial arts, because I think they're different. Chinese and traditional is not the same. I think Chinese is more associated with Kung Fu. You don't see it much in UFC. Now, there is some great Kung Fu stylists. They call themselves Kung Fu stylists. They do it's kind of like they do Muay Thai, but they added the sidekick. And they'll compete against Muay Thai guys and they'll win. But the Kung Fu style, it's really like Muay Thai. Plus, they all have a great sidekick and they do takedowns. So Sanda is supremely effective. So if you're talking about Sanda, I love Sanda. Like Kung Lee used to represent Sanda. He was Strikeforce champion. I love that style. I think that's great. But if you're talking about traditional Chinese martial arts, I don't know if you'd consider Sanda traditional martial arts. But I'm a big fan of Sanda. So if we're talking about Sanda, I think it's fantastic for MMA. Vince Ortiz, my man, is your Olympic wrestling approach inherently flawed? I think that his wrestling is great, except that he doesn't do much on the ground. He seems to always get a takedown and kind of not do much. Against Robert Whittaker, he did kind of break down Robert in the turtle position and kind of control him there. So he did do some good ground and pound. Against Jacare, he did some, but for the amount of wrestling he has, he doesn't really use it. He took down Paulo Costa at the end of the round, and it seemed like he was just trying to bank in the round. Why didn't he do that earlier in the round? Does he feel like he can hold on Costa? Does he have any jiu-jitsu? Can he graduate to half guard and kind of smash pass and ground and pound? We don't see too much of that. We've seen little flashes of it, but for the amount of wrestling he's done, you'd think that he'd take the guy down on the ground. Why box with Paulo Costa? The pedigree of Yoel Romero's wrestling is far superior to Paulo Costa's. But he did try to take him down and couldn't. So why didn't he try more? Why didn't he force the fight to the ground? Eventually, Yoel will score a takedown. His pedigree is far greater. Is it because he can't hold the guy on the ground because he doesn't have the jiu-jitsu? That's my suspicion, is that he feels like he has to either take the guy down near the end of the round, or he has to hurt the guy really badly. Like when he hurt Jacare with the back fist, then he got on top of him. But that back fist had really stunned Jacare. Why doesn't he force guys to the ground and just kind of maul them on the ground? I just feel he doesn't have that belief in his ground game. Okay, guys, I'm doing my best here to keep up with the super chats, but there are too many. Ben Belize, struggling with full-time job and fighting pro. I make above medium wage. I'm athletic, played ball sports. Advice on life's transition. I'm 27, amateur Muay Thai. Well, Ben, I'll tell you something. I went to university. I had a job. And I was training professional athletes. It was very difficult. You have to be supremely organized. I would get up early. I would do my conditioning. I would wake up in the morning, do my conditioning at home. Get in the shower, go to school, do my studies, go to the gym, put in 2-3 hours in the gym, come back home, sleep, and repeat. I would work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I would work a shift at a gas station. I would make just enough money to live. That's it. I was dirt broke, poor, starving to death. All the money I had excess, I would take privates, travel to seminars. I was all in. Now you're 27. I was younger than you. Do you have a wife and kids? Is this possible? Is it? Because I was very secluded during that time. I was very difficult time in my life. Very, very difficult time. I'm telling you, if you asked me to do that today, I wouldn't do it. Like now I train twice a day, but that's my job. That's my job. You can do it for a period of time. If you're serious about being pro, get up in the morning, do your conditioning, go to work, come back after practice and do your skill work. So you have 2 sessions a day. It's not going to be easy. How bad do you want it? It's just not that easy. I understand if you're unable to do it. It's very, very difficult. But in my opinion, that's what you would have to do. Okay, guys, another super chat here. Oh, no. Okay, guys, we are 1 hour, 26 minutes, and I'm going to take one last one. I think we had a good episode. I think it was fun. I hope you guys had a good time, and let's do one last one. Let's end it on a super nice and fun question. Okay, I'm getting a bunch of them, guys. Give me a good one. How to get good. Who would win, a tiger or a gorilla? Who would win, a tiger or a gorilla? Guys, I can't tell you how many times I've had the conversation with John Danaher, George St. Pierre, and a whole host of guys. In my opinion, I hold the tiger in high esteem. Now, for a long time, George and John Danaher ridiculed my position that the tiger can beat a lion. Then upon some research, intensive research, I found a source of Romans. The Romans used to put tigers and lions together in the Colosseum to a fight to the death. And the favorite was always, or vast majority of time, the tiger. Yes, you've heard it now. We now have empirical proof that these battles have happened. I know you asked me about the gorilla. I'm going to get to that in a second. That these battles have happened. Tiger and lion have fought repeatedly. I know they're not found in captivity. It was done by the Romans. And after a series of fights, a favorite developed. And the favorite was the tiger. It was a sweet day, my friends, when we found that data. It was a sweet, sweet day where George had to admit that his assessment of the lion was overrated and that the tiger is truly the king of the jungle. It was a sweet day. It was. Now, what would happen between a tiger and a gorilla? Well, I'll ask you this. How could a gorilla beat a tiger? By what means would he kill the tiger? Would he make a fist and strike the tiger? Unlikely. They don't really strike. What they do is they club. Gorillas club. While he's clubbing, the tiger's also clubbing. The tiger has claws. The tiger is... How big is a gorilla? Hold on. Listen, guys, I'm going with tiger. I'm rounding you up. I'm corralling you into the answer. It's a tiger. I just want to see how heavy is a tiger. How heavy is a gorilla? I think it's much smaller than a tiger, or at least smaller than a tiger. Western gorilla, 160 kilograms. 800 pounds. Decent, respectable. 800 pounds ain't going to be enough. I'm going to side with the tiger. I think the tiger claws him. The tiger can bite him. I don't know the strength. I don't think the gorilla... First of all, the gorilla doesn't even eat meat. The gorilla doesn't eat meat. It doesn't hunt. He's sitting there eating leaves. He never kills anything. He doesn't have nothing to kill. The tiger is a lone animal. He's going solo, hunting. Huge game. Killing on a regular basis. Getting all that exercise. While the gorilla is just there in his vegan lifestyle. I don't think he beats the tiger. I think the tiger knows what blood is. He knows what killing is. He's killed over and over again. He knows about the jugular. He knows about the vitals. Whereas a gorilla, never really killed anything in his life. He's just going to run away. The gorilla's going to run away and won't last with a tiger. That's my opinion, guys. And listen, don't send me any footage of animals fighting each other. I don't want to see that. I'm against animal fighting. Don't do that, please. That's not what I'm calling for. I'm talking about theoretically. Now, if one of you can dig up, have the Romans ever put a gorilla versus a tiger? I would be extremely interested in seeing that. I've never seen a source. It may or may not exist. However, I've never come across it. If it does exist, I would be shocked if the gorilla was the favorite. I would be shocked. I'm guaranteeing you it's the tiger. I'm 99% sure the tiger would be the favorite against the gorilla. If you guys can dig that up, that would be great. With that said, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode.